Hello and welcome to another fly tying session with your host Scott. Today we're going to be tying a tournament Cats Whisker in hot orange. The main reason I'm tying this fly for you guys is because I was fishing with it earlier on this week, and I caught a rather large rainbow trout with it, which I'll show a picture of in the video later on. Considering this fishery is stocked with 1.5 pounders on the whole, this fish has been in a while, and the person who was there with me turned around and said it's the biggest trout he's seen come out in 6 years. So I thought I'd share this pattern with you. So to tie this pattern, we're going to need some 3.3mm brass beads, a B405 in size 10. It is actually a tournament size Cats Whisker, this one. We're going to need a thread in hot orange, or fire orange, excuse me. If you've got hot orange, that'll do as well. We're obviously going to need some hot orange marabou. This is some white marabou I've dyed myself. This was a white rabbit fur that I've dyed myself in the same colour. This is what we're going to be using for the body. And then just for a bit of flash in the tail, we've got a bit of holographic gold tinsel. This is very fine tinsel, made by a company called Madeira. It's not actually used for fly tying, it's used by sewers. So there we are. So a fairly easy pattern to tie, very easy pattern to fish with. We're going to put a layer of thread down. We'll worry about the bead later. And we're going to go probably to where the thread comes in line with the point of the hook. Now there's a reason I do that, and that's because I don't like it when the tail of the fly wraps around the hook in the cast. So then we're going to get a fairly substantial tuft of hot orange marabou. Because it's tournament size, you're going to have to trim it quite close. I actually don't fish tournaments, so I'll keep mine a bit longer than the regulations. But you're going to need a fairly decent tuft. Probably about a thumb's width. And then all this rubbish on the end here, you want to be able to just strip that away, just to get rid of some of the bulk. Now if you're very clever and you haven't got any of the rabbit fur dubbing, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can use this as your dubbing, or you can still use chenille. Now this pattern can be tied in a variety of colours. The most famous obviously is white and chartreuse, which is the original Cats Whisker. You've seen me tie one of those, so I wanted to do one in a different colour for you. So that's tied in fairly tightly. We're going to trim the waist, the length of the body. Now when you're trimming marabou, don't use your really good scissors, just use a pair of older scissors, because for some reason it seems to blunt them. I'm not sure why. There we are, and then we're going to tidy up just a little bit. Don't worry about bits sticking out. We'll sort those out later. Then what we're going to do is we're going to build up some thread behind the eye. So if you pull the thread away from the bead like so, you will eventually be able to fill in behind the bead and stop it from moving about. It seems like a wasteful way of doing it, but you don't really want that bead to move. You want to do it so that you can still got some room to tie in your wing though, so it's not going to move, but there's still enough room for your wing. So then we're going to go back up to the other end. And personally I think that tail looks a bit thin, so I might just add another bunch there actually. Just a small amount. So I'm looking at the one I've got here. This is the benchmark one. This is a little longer than what the tournament one would be. I've just tested it against my gauge here. The hook size is in limits, but the tail isn't. So we'll see if we can get a nice fluffy bit of marabou here, just to add a little bit of meat to the tail. Just a bit extra. It doesn't have to be the same length or anything, just drop it in there. We'll sort that out in a bit. Not a loose turn to start with, and then tighten up to it. Any loose bits, they'll come out by themselves. Again, trim it the length of the body. And then we're going to want a little bit of flash. This is optional as well. You don't need to do this. This is just how I like to do them. Just one strand will do, a couple of inches long, and then double it up. Now the gentleman that helped me land the fish, his name is Dickon, and he's a chap that lives in the village nearby to the fishery, and I actually gave him the fly at the end. He helped me land it and take the photo, which I'm hoping to include in the video. So that's how we put the flash into the tail. You just double it up and drop it in like that. So then we'll tidy up again. The great thing about lures is they're great flies for beginners. They catch a lot of fish. They're not really particularly difficult to tie. They're nice and quick. And I find early season orange is a good colour. Another story behind the session on Friday. Today's Sunday, the 30th of March, Mothering Sunday. Was I took my deeper sonar. Now we knew that the fishery had problems with cormorants. We've had poachers on there. There's all sorts of things been going on during the winter. So I wanted to see which lakes had actually got fish in them. We managed to find, we had a few returns on the second lake, and that's the lake that we fished in the end, and we both caught fish there. We did fish the top one with no success, and I didn't get any returns on that one. We didn't fish the third one, but we didn't get any returns, sonar returns there either. So hopefully that proves that the deeper sonar works. I may do a review on that product at some point. Obviously, if you rock up with a sea fishing reel and a spinning rod, a bailiff might have something to say about that, so I would probably make sure that you ask permission first if you do decide you're going to use one of those. But because we're in a syndicate and there's only 30 members, we've all got direct phone numbers to one another, and to the fishery manager. The fishery manager's quite happy for us to do certain things up there to help run it, so there we go. So I've just dubbed on some of the rabbit fur for the body. I think we're only going to need a little bit because the body's quite thick already. And the really odd thing is I actually caught the fish exactly where I found the first sonar return earlier on in the day. So he must have been sat there all along, that fish. So yeah, it's definitely worth getting one and trying it out. Even if you're just watching this as a carp angler and you're just thinking about trying out fly fishing, definitely get one of those sonars. They're absolutely brilliant. I've got the one with the GPS in, so you can map a lake. And I might include one of the maps on the video as well. So that's our body tied. Now we're going to need to shorten this tail quite a lot. I'm going to need to take some of the tinsel out first. Probably leave about 3/4 of an inch of tinsel. It just catches the sun on a bright day, and it's enough to get their attention. And then between finger and thumb, we're going to pinch If you've got nails, it's even better, but I bite mine, you may have noticed on previous videos. That may actually be tournament length now. It looks a bit shorter than the one I normally fish with. What have I done with the one I normally fish with? Let's have a look. No, it is about the same. And now we're going to tie in the wing. It's the same process as the tail, really. I normally use less marabou in the wing than the tail. So probably about half a thumb. Offer it up. Loose turn. Pull down tight. Right behind the bead. Just a few turns. Trim the same length as the tail. Like so. And then use your half knackered scissors to trim away. Now an interesting trick, just to keep the head nice and neat, is to leave a little bit there. Just push it back with your finger, go up to the bead, the back of the bead, and then wind the head. And that really locks in the wing there. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. And there we have it. Just trimming some of the rabbit fur. I prefer to use fur. I don't know why, I don't like chenille. I'm not a fan of chenille at all. And then we're going to come in with our whip finish tool. I've managed to get used to the rotary one. You watch, I'll probably mess it up now. There we go, all done. Come in with your good scissors, trim close. And just tidy it up a bit. And then you're going to want to varnish that to finish. Now the bead shouldn't go anywhere. It might rotate still, but once the varnish is on there, it should be fine. Now I was fishing this on a very fast sinking line, but I actually fished it quite shallow using a roly-poly retrieve. You can use any retrieve you like. I know on some fisheries the roly-poly's banned. You do whatever you're allowed to do. But a fast retrieve normally works well on the fishery we use. So that's what I was doing. And there we have it. A little bit shorter, and that would be a tournament Cats Whisker in orange. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please like, share and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.